Well, I thought it was a heck of a game, and you know, there was enough adversity in it. We played so well early. You know, one turnover the first half is a record for us, and I thought our break was so good, and Gary and Zell were hitting Branden on that break, and they both had 4 assists the first half. We were running well and playing real well, and I think you got to give Harvard a lot of credit. I kept telling my guys 2 things. And my staff, you know, when we were up 12-13 to start the second half, it seemed like we were up 16-18, and I said, every time I sat down, I said, we're only up 12, you know, and they said, yeah, and I told these guys, they're going to keep hanging around, you know, and so they're very well coached. They did a great job, but the difference in the game, in the second half, we got sloppy. You know, we turned it over 10 times in the second half, and they scored, I think, on 6 of them, and a couple of them breakaways, and that they deserve credit for it. We deserve some blame for it. If we can learn from it, I think it's going to help this team. And yet we had a couple guys with incredible performances. Branden having a career high after AP had one the other day, and Gary had a couple of big plays when we really needed buckets.
All right. We'll remind you once again to, if you can direct questions to a specific individual, that's helpful. And let's take questions for Michigan State student athletes.
Chantel Jennings, ESPN.com. Coach said that if you guys can learn from this, it'll be a really good thing for you guys down the road. So what exactly, for each of you, can you learn from this game, from this experience?
Gary, let's start with you and work that way.
We have to know the time, the score and time of the game. We have to be smart when we have a lead. You know, as the times increasingly, we have to bear down on defense. You know, just be more cognizant of what we're doing on the offensive end, taking better shots, so we don't give them time for them to come back and take a lead like they did today.
Yes, honestly, I think we kind of, you know, we dug ourselves a hole, you know, tonight, and you know, like Gary said, we kind of got comfortable with our lead. So you know, from this game, I think we just have to, you know, just keep playing solid and you know, just don't get comfortable with the big lead.
You know, they basically, you know, said it all. So there's really not too much to say.
Mike Griffith from the MLive Media Group. For Gary, can you just talk about the clutch gene tonight? I mean, it looked like Harvard was on a roll, and you stepped up and made some big plays.
You know, it started off, I mean, I was able to, my teammates had a great screen for me. I was able to get open and knock down a 3. So, you know, I was just able to get the ball in spots, you know, my teammates found me, and I was just thankfully able to knock down some shots.
More questions for Michigan State?
Andrew Mooney, Harvard Crimson. For each of you, given how easy it looked for you guys in the first half, how surprised were you when they came back? And it seemed like there was one moment in particular after a timeout in the second half where they kind of, you know, just upped the intensity way, way higher than it was in the past.
We knew that they was going to go on a run. Coach kept talking to us and telling us, you know, they've been through this before, and they, you know, they fought through it and won the game. So we knew that we just had to continue to stay together and just go out and play hard and try to get stops on defense. And that's the main thing, is trying to, you know, play good defense, because in the tournament, you know, it's always, you know, you got great players that can step up and make shots. You just need to play defense.
Yeah, I think those guys are definitely a disciplined team. You know, like Adreian Payne said, you know, Coach kept telling us that those guys have been in that position, you know, plenty of times, and they had, you know, veteran guys that's been through situation, you know, a lot of times. So I think that they just kept fighting and just never gave up.
Yeah, they're a very good team that's well coached, and you know, they stayed poised, and we knew they were gonna make a run because, I mean, they're here for a reason, and you know, they made that run, but we stuck together as a team, and we were able to fight through it.
Gary, did you have any doubt what your guys' response would be after they took the lead?
I didn't have any doubt at all. I mean, I could just tell by everybody's body language that, I mean, just we were sticking together. We weren't arguing. I mean, and we knew that we were going to find a way to get it done.
Gary, Jim Comparoni, SpartanMag.com. You mentioned a little bit about the shots you made late. Also, I think one coming out of a timeout is a slice cut and a down screen. They went right to you, if I'm not mistaken, during a timeout. What was it like knowing that a big play was going to be coming to you and then delivering on that one?
You know, that's the play. I mean, we love that play from a sideline out of bounds play, because there's many options. You know, I was one of many options. I just happened to be the option that was open, and I was able to knock down a shot.
Can I get one more? Also, Branden, I think they posted you up against number 0 late for a key bucket also. What was it like to have the offense coming to you in that situation and to execute?
Well, honestly, I started with my teammates, and I think Gary Harris and Denzel and all the rest of those guys, they did a great job. And my Adreian Payne and I, we got the ball out, and we got just key points in transition. And when they got the ball to me in the post, coaches kept telling me to attack, and that's what I did.
Branden, the Harvard players gave you guys a big compliment by saying the mark of a good team is to get battled back onto the ropes and take a punch and then come back off it. What do you guys think this will do for you going forward to respond the way you did?
Well, honestly, I think it was a huge test for us, and it all falls back from the Michigan game at home and away and the Illinois game. When I think as a team, we got down as a team and we start blaming each other and start pointing fingers. So I think honestly, this is definitely a big test for us because we stayed poised. We just kept fighting as a team. So I think we just have to just get better at our mistakes and just keep playing hard.
Thank you. For Adreian, when the guy hit the 3 from the corner to put Harvard ahead, what was going through your mind at that point when Harvard had reclaimed the lead?
We got to stay together as a team, and that they was here for a reason, and we just knew that we had to stay together as a team and just continue to fight. And defense was the main thing. Is we needed to get stops.
Just follow up with Gary. You guys have obviously won a lot of ball games this year, but we haven't really seen you blow anybody out. Can you just talk about needing maybe to get that next level as far as being able to put teams away in games like this?
I mean, it's just the way it goes. I mean, at this point in the season, we're not worried about blowing anybody out to survive and advance. And that's what we did this weekend, and we survived and we're advancing. So at this time of the season, it's all about winning. No matter how we do it, just get the win.
All right, we'll excuse Michigan State student-athletes. And once they've left the stage, we'll direct questions to Coach Izzo.
Good job, guys.
Thank you, guys. Congratulations.
Tom, can you talk about the response when it was 62-60? Were you eager to see what they would do at that moment? Were you curious to see how because you guys have kind of dominated the last 9 days, haven't really been in this kind of mental fortitude situation?
Well, it was interesting, when you watch games in this tournament, you see some teams have big leads and blow them, and you see a team get a 4-point play with 3 seconds left. I mean, this is the NCAA Tournament. This is what it's all about. And as I said, I thought we were playing really well, and we were only up 10 or 12. And when you look down the other end, I got a good friend that's down there, and as I said, I kept saying they're gonna come back. You better realize that. And when they went up, or when we were down, when they caught up, I was disappointed because we weren't executing as well as we needed to execute. Couple big plays, momentum shifts. I thought Adreian had a couple shots down there that normally go in, didn't. I thought we got a little complacent, and I said the greatest thing that happened for me is we did enough bad things, and give Harvard some credit for that. Mostly the 10 turnovers in the second half, but we found a way to bounce back and win. And so it's always a better learning experience when you win and do some things that maybe will get their attention now in the film session tomorrow night or whenever we start doing it.
Coach, Gary's obviously had a very good year, but tonight was a night where we really saw, as I mentioned, the clutch gene. We hadn't really seen him take over a game in the finish. How important was that for Gary?
I think it was really important, and I've been saying that. I mean, he's almost too unselfish at times. And it was funny because Denzel said, "Coach, we got to go to him," in one of the timeouts. And I said, "Yeah, I could just see it in his eyes." And it sounds crazy, but I've told him many a times, you got to be more aggressive. I thought he made some key plays. The block charge one when he made the basket. It was a charge, but it was a close play. I mean, he needed to do some things. But hitting those couple of big shots late, we went right to him. And our guys executed. We weren't executing as sharp the second half. And partially it was Harvard. I mean, I really like his team. In fact, to be very blunt and honest, I thought the first half they had some shots that I've seen them make that they didn't make, a couple of open ones, and that would have changed the whole dynamics of that game early. I mean, they played really well, I thought, but didn't shoot as well. I'm anxious in the next couple of days to talk to Tom and see what he thought. But I do think they missed some shots that I've seen them make in a lot of the film I've watched.
Coach, a few of your guys were in foul trouble late down the stretch. What were you telling them, and how did they kind of overcome that adversity to kind of pull it out at the end?
Yeah, if there's a negative right now that I'm concerned with, we're in foul trouble all the time. And, I question some of it. I have all year, but I also appreciate that we're just doing some things that aren't as disciplined as they need to be done. When we went through all those injuries, we were moving so many people around. Nobody has a real comfort level with each other, and every game we play, it gets a little better. And so that's something we're going to have to shore up because, when do you put Keith back? And, we had some guys out in that first half, and it's just hard. And, we're figuring out ways to do it, but I'd like us to get a little smarter. When you got a foul, you can't be reaching. Just put your arms up. If they score, they score. A couple guys like Adreian doesn't understand. Gary didn't understand last week that he's more valuable than the 2 points they make, and that's been something we haven't done a great job of.
Tom, Jim Comparoni, SpartanMag.com. I'm trying to decide which question to ask here. I guess I'll ask this one. The obligatory Sweet 16 question. I think there's 12th Sweet 16 in 17 years. The first one was against an Ivy League team. This one, Ivy League team. Not much easier, but is it still sweet? Are you enjoying this? Sweet 16 still sweet?
That's right. The first one was Princeton. This one was a good win because of what we've been through and the fact that who knows? I like Cincinnati, but I told my guys I thought Stanford would beat them. I like his team, and I think he's got a really good team, and we had to play pretty good to beat a really good team, even though we made some mistakes. So I don't know. I never keep track. Those kind of things are for retirement, and I don't plan on doing that right now or in the near future. So I'll get someday to have a grandson sitting on my lap and saying, hey, your old grandpa, went to 12 Sweet 16 in 17 years, and he's going to probably say, who gives a damn? And I'll probably say, you're right, and we move on,
Coach, you see teams like Florida and Mercer and all these upsets, even Harvard against Cincinnati. How important is it to have senior leaders, Adreian Payne, Keith Appling, that have been through this before?
Well, that's what I said. The guy that won't get enough credit this weekend for us will be Appling, because he got in a lot of foul trouble. But the other day, he played great and didn't hardly score, 5 points. But defensively, running our team, fast breaking, pushing the ball. He was kind of an unsung hero this weekend because he didn't have the stats that would look. Even had some turnovers tonight, but he does some things well, and I think he's the senior. Tonight, AP struggled. He really did, and it was a good lesson. I said, if you think that guy that I know well on the other team is not going to be sitting up nights figuring out how to make it harder on you. When you scored 41 or 2 points 2 nights ago, I said, this is not going to be easy. And it was very, very difficult. They did a good job. I love what they did. Some guys on our staff said they'll probably double. I said, nah, they won't change what they do. They'll just do it better. And that's exactly what he did, and hats off to them.
Coach, you had a moment with Chambers in the handshake line. What did you say to him?
Well, he's from Minnesota, which is, when you're in Harvard, Minnesota is more in our neck of the woods, and recruited a couple kids from his AAU team, know his AAU coach real well, and he's a tough kid, and I just told him I enjoyed watching him on film. I enjoyed, playing against him. I'm glad I don't have to anymore, because he too missed some shots that I think he's made, but he's tough. He runs their team. He's going to be a really good player for him as time goes on.
I apologize if this has been asked, Tom, but can you just take us through the late huddles? Some of the guys in the locker room were saying, they were saying, like, let's calm it down. And did you like what you saw? Did you see composure there? He's going to tell us what went down.
I did. I think it's always hard because Adreian is Adreian. And, you know, he's the one that I think gets the most frustrated. But Gary and Zell and Travis, BJ did a great job in there, you know, great job. And we got some things out of those huddles. You know, we did score some baskets out of timeouts, and that's what we were so good at, you know, in the years past. And we had a couple big plays out of there, and that was good. But, you know, it was disappointing, too, because we played sloppy for a while. I mean, it was just turnover after turnover there for that stretch, and that, too, was disappointing. But I think there is some good to having a team go through that. A team as good as Harvard, you know, come back, and he's got to feel good about his team, too, because those guys could have been down and out. I mean, we were playing pretty well in that one stretch and should have been up more than we were. And every time they'd hit a big three, they'd get a steal, they'd hit the corner. I mean, they did some really good things. And, you know, when you ask the question, or I think Mike asked the question to Gary about blowing somebody out, this point in time with the parity there is now, if I could take, you know, 4, 5, 6 1-point wins and keep moving on, I'd take those any day of the week. It's just, there's too many good teams. And, you know, as I said about Harvard, that's not a 12 seed. You know, it's not. It's just that they play in a league where the RPI isn't as high. And so the way the system works, they don't get seeded as high. But if you want to talk to coaches, nobody would have seeded Harvard as a 12 seed. They're good. They're legit. And as I said, I thought they missed some shots early that I seen them hit. So it was a good win for us, trust me.